Welcome you all to this, Thursday morning Bhagavad Gita class daily. So today we are reading from Bhagavad Gita as it is, chapter 10, text 12. Arjuna Vacha Param Brahma Param Dhama Pavitram Paramam Bhavan Purusham Shashvatam Divyam Adidevam Ajam Vibhum. The translation is, Arjuna said, "You are the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the ultimate abode, the purest, the absolute truth. You are the eternal, transcendental, original person, the unborn, the greatest." Namo Vishpada Krishna Prasthava Bhutale Srimati Bhaktivedanta Swami Nityanande Namaste Saraswati Gurvani Pachami Nirvishe Shushnyamani Pashthana Umadhyana Timirantas Nyananjan Shalakaya Chakshut Maitamena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advait Gadadhara Sivasadi Gauri Bhaktavinda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Moham Karoli Vachalam Purnam Devigam Kapad Muhammad Shri Gurundra Dharnam Paramantamana Shri Chaitanya Ishwar. Hare Krishna. So we see here that Arjuna heard the previous 4 very important verses of Bhagavad Gita, and through this verse Arjuna is expressing his realizations of Krishna as the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So some very important points are there. So first Arjuna says, Param Brahma. Param Brahma means he says that you are the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So the Lord is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and the first verse in Srimad Bhagavatam, first canto, first chapter, in the first sloka itself starts with Satyam Param Dhimahi. That means the Lord is the supreme absolute truth, or it is defined as the Sambham Bonam, or the source of all the energies that are there. So everything that is there comprises of spiritual or material energy. And there is a definition for the word Krishna. Krish is one who is very attractive, and he is the feature of sustenance. And Na means one who gives spiritual pleasure. So when we add Krish and Na, it indicates one who is attractive and gives spiritual pleasure. And that is how it is declared that he is the supreme absolute truth. So this is Param Brahma. Then he addresses the Lord as Param Dhama, or supreme sustenance. Now, Lord is the original sustenance. Into him everything, all that is there in the material and as well as the spiritual world, sustain on him. So in the same chapter in Bhagavad Gita, in the 42nd verse, the Lord is telling Arjuna, what need is there, Arjuna, for all this detailed knowledge? With a single fragment of myself, I pervade and support the entire universe. So the Lord creates as Brahma, maintains as Lord Vishnu, and annihilates as Lord Shiva. So from here, this we can understand that all these expansions are a small expansion of the Supreme Lord, Sri Krishna. So everything, and the Lord is telling that there is no point in how everything exists in this opulence, but just by entering Lord Krishna, entering into each and every atom, right from Brahma, the supreme living entity, to in this material world, to the smallest atom, the Lord is entering as the super soul and sustaining them. Similarly, Lord Brahma is glorifying Krishna in Brahma Samhita, in the 35th verse. He says, Ekopya Saurachayitu Jagadanda Kodim Yachakti Rasti Jagadanda Chayadananda Andandarasta Paramanu Chayandarastam Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami. He says that he's an undifferentiated entity, and there is no distinction between the potency and the possessor. So there is no difference between Krishna and his energies. His potency remains unseparable, and all the universes exist in him and is present in his fullness in every one of the atoms that are scattered throughout the universes. That means the Lord is present in each and every universe as the super soul, and is also present in each and every atom as the super soul. So he's Garbhodaka Sai Vishnu when he enters into each and every universe, And as Paramatma feature, he is present in each and every living entity. And he also says that even though all these so many atoms are scattered throughout the universes, the Lord is present in his full. So the Lord is complete and everything is present in him. And Brahma says that such is the primeval Lord whom I adore. So this is Param Brahma Param Dhamma. Then he says Pavitram Paramam Bhavan. That means the Lord is supremely pure. Now, in the Vedas also, it is accepted the Lord as the purest of the pure. There is no one more purer than the Supreme Lord Sri Krishna. And one who understands this, that Krishna is the purest of the pure, can become purified of all the sinful and sinful activities. Now, as living entities and minute part and parcels of the Supreme Lord, when we take up a material body and come to this material world, there is a tendency to commit sinful activities. So, which every living entity is prone to. So, how do these living entities become pure? When they come in contact with a pure object, then only they can uh, become pure. So, here Arjuna is addressing as the Lord as Pavitram Paramam Bhavan, that is supremely pure. So, when one comes in contact with Krishna, then he can be disinfected from all the sinful activities. And that happens by the process of surrender unto him. So the Lord also is ultimately all the scriptures take us to the point of necessary of surrendering to the Supreme Lord. In the sixth canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, uh, King Chitraketu is offering prayers to the Lord. He says, my Lord, it is impossible for one to be immediately freed from all the contaminations. It is not impossible for one to be completely freed from all the contaminations just by seeing you. That means just by seeing the Supreme Lord Krishna, it is not impossible. That is, it is possible that one can become free from all the material contamination. Then he further addresses the Lord as, not to speak of seeing you personally, merely by hearing the holy name of your lordships, only once, even chandalas or men of the lowest class are freed from all material contamination. So not only it is necessary to see the Lord, but by just hearing the holy name of the Lord, whether it is chandalas or anybody, can become free from all the material contamination. And finally, he concludes saying that under the circumstances, who will not be freed from material contamination simply by seeing you? So, just by simply seeing the Supreme Lord, or by hearing the pure name of the Supreme Lord, one can become free from all the material contamination. Then he addresses the Lord as Purusham. Purusham means is a personality. The Lord is a person and he is the supreme person. Now, every living entity is a person, and the Lord is also a person. He is not impersonal. The impersonal form of the Lord is a small fraction of the personality of Godhead. So the Lord has got a form, and this verse actually, Srila Prabhupada also starts mentioning that this is a verse to clear the understanding of the Mayavada philosophers who think that the Lord is impersonal, but the Lord is a Purusham, but is a personality. And just like, for example, the sun has got a form, and from the sun comes sunlight. So sunlight may not have a form, but the sun has got a form. So similarly, the Lord has got a form, and the impersonal Brahma Jyoti, which the Mayavadis perceive to be impersonal, that is like a light glaring effulgence coming from the Lord, which is what the Mayavadis follow. So the Lord is a person, and every living entity is also a person. In the ninth canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, there is a very nice sloka. The translation says, the sons of Sagara, they offer prayers to the Lord. They say, O completely peaceful Lord, although material nature, fruitive activities, and all the consequent material names and forms are your creation, you are unaffected by them. Therefore, your transcendental name is different from material names, and your form is different from material forms. That means In the case of the Lord, the name, the form, all are transcendental. But in our case, we have a name, we have a form, which are different. But in the case of the Lord, the name is also transcendental. The form is also transcendental. So then they further address that you assume a form resembling a material body just to give instructions like those of Bhagavad Gita. But actually, you are the supreme original person. I therefore offer my respectful obeisances unto you. Now, because the Lord is transcendental and we are material, our form and name is different, but the Lord accepts a form like a human body like us just to give instructions like Bhagavad Gita, Srimad Bhagavatam, Chaitanya Charitamrita. So, but the Lord is actually the supreme original person, and his form, his qualities, his name, everything is transcendental nature, and they are all non-different. So in Bhagavad Gita, in Brahma Samhita also, uh, Lord Brahma is glorifying the Lord as Ishvara Parama Krishna, Satchidananda Vigraha, Anadiradir Govinda, Sarvakarana Karana. Is a Krishna who is known as Govinda, is a supreme Godhead. He has an eternal, blissful spiritual body. That means the Lord is the supreme personality of Godhead, and he has got an eternal spiritual body. The Lord does not have a material body, but externally we might see that it is material, but it is spiritual. Not only that, Brahma is saying that he is the origin of all and he has no origin and he is the prime cause of all causes. That means everything that we see in this material and spiritual world, the Lord Krishna is the origin of all, but he has no origin. The Lord does not have an origin. He existed before also, he exists now also, and he will be existing in future, even after the annihilation of this material universe. And then Brahma ultimately concludes saying that he is the prime cause of all causes. That means the Lord is the cause of all causes and he's got a Satchidananda. That means the Lord is eternal, blissful, and he is full of knowledge. Then Arjuna is addressing here as Divyam. Divyam means transcendental. Uh, the Lord is transcendental in nature. It does not come under the three modes of material nature like us. So the Vedas also offer the prayers in the fourth canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, where they address the Lord as we offer our respectful obeisances unto you, the Lord, the shelter of the quality of goodness, and therefore the source of all religion, austerity, and penance. You are transcendental to all the material qualities, and no one knows you or your actual situation. That means because we have a material body, our vision is also material. But the Lord is transcendental in nature, and it is not very easy to understand the transcendental nature of the Lord. So, the material world also, everything that is there, we see they come under the three modes of material nature. But Lord Vishnu, as the sustainer or the superintendent of the quality of goodness, he is the source of everything and he sustains everything. It is said that it is very easy to create anything, but it is very difficult to maintain. But Lord Vishnu, as in the mode of goodness, he sustains this universe. Then Arjuna addresses the Lord as Adi Devam. Adi Devam means he is the original Lord. He is the original personality of Godhead. He is the oldest. In the Bhagavad Gita 11th chapter itself, Arjuna is concluding saying that you are the original personality of Godhead. You are the oldest and the ultimate sanctuary of this entire manifested cosmic world. Also, he says, you are the knower of everything and you are all that is knowable. That means the Lord knows everything, and the ultimate purpose of knowing everything is the Supreme Lord Himself. Then he says that you are the supreme refuge above the material modes. That means the Lord is beyond the modes of goodness, passion, and ignorance. And the whole cosmic manifestation is pervaded by the Lord. Then Arjuna is addressing the Lord as Ajam. Ajam means one who is unborn. The Lord does not have a material birth like us, and He does not have a material death like us. We have birth and death for this material body, but the Lord is unborn. The Lord Himself says in the fourth chapter of Bhagavad Gita, although I am unborn and my transcendental body never deteriorates, and although I am the Lord of all the living entities, by my internal energy, I still appear in every millennium in my original spiritual transcendental form. That means the Lord is not born, but the Lord appears in every millennium in his transcendental form. So when the Lord appeared as Krishna, he appeared in his transcendental form. And finally, Arjuna addresses the Lord as Vibhum. Vibhum means the Lord is the greatest. One of the Lord's name is Asamurtva. Other Asamurtva means there is no one who is greater than or equal to the Supreme Lord. So that is why the Lord is the greatest, and he understands the Lord as Vibhum. So these are the qualities by which Arjuna is addressing the Supreme Lord. And these qualities can be realized only by those who are engaged in devotional service to the Lord. Because we, being the part and parcel of the Supreme Lord, are constitutionally bound to serve the Supreme Lord. When we engage in serving the Lord, then we can address these, we can realize these qualities of the Lord as Arjuna is realizing. So this is all I have for the verse for today in the 15 minutes. I can take in the next 1 minute any questions or any comments that any of you have.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dandavat
Hare
Pranam.
Krishna Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Prabhuji, I have a question. Can I ask?
Yes, Prabhu. Yes, Prabhu. Please tell me.
Sometimes Lord is referred to as Vaikuntha. I mean, like, what exactly does it mean by that? I mean, like, when he's Paramdhama, also we see here word Paramdhama.
Now, Dhamma actually generally refers to a pilgrimage place or a religious place. But as we discussed here also, the Lord is non-different from himself, his name, his form, and also it includes Vaikuntha also. So Vaikuntha is one of the spiritual planets, and beyond Vaikuntha also there are many other planets and many places. For example, even in the case of Atma, we see in Bhagavad Gita sometimes Atma is referred to as soul, sometimes as body, and sometimes as mind. So when we say Vaikuntha, so it can mean any of the meanings, but in this place, this Dhamma is referred to as the ultimate, yeah. One second. Dhamma here in this particular is referred to as ultimate sustenance. It means everything is sustained by on the Supreme Lord, Krishna. So whether it is Krishna, many times we say Krishna and Vishnu are the same. So yes, but at the same time, Krishna is, even Vishnu, Krishna is the cause of even Vishnu, because even Vishnu originates from the Lord Krishna. Vaikuntha also originates from Krishna. So it can be Vaikuntha depending on what the particular meaning of the sloka is supposed to be. So here it is referred to as sustenance, just like Atma. This is my understanding, Prabhu.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
Thank you. Any other questions? Any other comments?